Hello guys, it's Nek as you know, and today we're gonna film a very special thing. It's again first timer for me and also for the guys in here. We're gonna introduce them in a second. This series, there will be some short interviews. You can call them mini podcasts, how you like, and it will be called 0 to 100. And today we have invited with us in here in Bucharest two very special guys for me and for my partner as well. Today we have in here
JD?
and
Leon.
so why are we filming this podcast, guys? Why are you here in Bucharest? Because you are from
Belgium. I think in November
okay
we started with you for the mentorship,
with the coaching, right?
with the coaching, because we needed some help with the company that we were running, and it turned out pretty decent. So we decided to come to Romania and work a bit closer with you and hopefully grow a bit faster also.
That's really nice. That's really nice. But so firstly, let's introduce Leon and Jade a bit. Can you please introduce yourself so the guys will know who you are?
All right, so my name is Jaidi. I'm 21 years old, from Belgium, and I'm one half of an agency I'm running together with Leon. Other things, I like to go to the gym sometimes. I don't think much more needs to be said.
Yeah, my name is Leon. I'm 20 years old, also from Belgium. Started business around 2 years ago. And right now I ended up here with Jaidi in Bucharest.
That's really nice. So let's go a bit to the roots. What was your first contact with business for both of you?
So I'll have to think about that one. When I was 16 years old, we had like this hype in the area where I live for like mini moped bikes, and I always drove with a cross motorcycle, so I know how to work on these things. And there were a lot of people who, because it was Chinese stuff and it always broke down. And basically, I started working on these mini moped bikes.
Like fixing them?
Yeah. And I remember one friend of mine, for my birthday, he made business cards. His father had like a big company for printing stuff. He gave me 10,000 cards as a joke. But when I went out in the city, I always had like hundreds of cards with me, and I just threw it in like the parking spot of the moped bike. I just threw my cards always in there, and one summer it really like popped off a little bit. I think that was my first interaction with business.
With in real life business, but with online business?
Online business was 3 years ago, my last year of school. I was together with my friends.
Or...
But we were not like best students in the class. So we were also always in the back of the class, like trying to trade, trying to drop shit stuff. We've tried everything. And that's how I got kind of introduced into the online business world. And by the end of the school year, I dropped out and started full-time online business.
Did you finish the studies? Or
I finished the studies, but I didn't study for the last exam period.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You, JD?
So, to be honest, it's always been like a little bit inside of me, like the urge to do something more than what is usual, you know. So I think it started like in high school, and I always had these crazy ideas. I was gonna start up this, I was gonna start up something else again, and eventually the first thing I ever tried, I can still remember it, was launching a gymwear brand. Like 2 to 3 years ago now, and maybe even more. And yeah, of course, that didn't work out very well because the saturation of the market and stuff. But at the end of the day, that's where everything started, and that's where I really got in touch with like the make money from your computer kind of business. And eventually, I rolled into this through the mutual connection of us. And
Actually, the mutual connection is the one where I was in class with
Yeah.
the last year of school.
and then we got to know each other, and eventually we joined forces and set up the agency together. So yeah, that's it's not like there was a lot going on before this. This is the actual real first business I'm really in, you know.
That's nice, guys. That's really inspiring. So you didn't have any like, for you, Jay, you didn't have any like business influence from your family or
No.
from your close people?
No. My parents are both like normal working class people. There's no one in my near family that really owns a business with like employees in it. So there was no one around me that would have ever been able to like teach me how these things go. No one.
Do you think that having such an influence would help you? Would bring you to the same? Would have brought you to the same point where you are right now?
To be honest, I don't think so, because at the end of the day, you're gonna try and figure it out yourself if you really wanted to. If you have that feeling of like, it's more like I am meant to do more. Like if you know from yourself like this is my goal, you're willing to do to give the sacrifices towards that goal, you're always I think you're always gonna get there, to be honest. Would it be easier if I would have had someone? Probably, yeah, but at the end of the day we're still here, so
Nice. I asked this question because I know that Leon's answer will be a bit different. Can you please tell me more about the situation you had?
My father is in business, and some other family members also have their own business. And yeah, it influences you a lot when you're young. And you know, your father's also always working hard, always a bit stressed to get everything done. He always told me like, even when I was very small, you just have to work very hard, because when you're gonna have your own company later, you're also gonna have to work hard. So that's like the only things that I heard when I was small. And you know, when you hear it as a kid and you keep on hearing it, it really gets inside of your head.
Yeah, agree with this. And my next question would be, did he give you any advices? And if yes, how do you perceive them?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, because my father, when you ask him something, he's always full attack. So he's like, if I bring up a specific topic, he's going to dive deep into it, and that sometimes I don't really like it, because I just want some simple answers. But yeah, when I ask him something, for example, setting up the company, how you file reports and stuff like that. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, also working with people together, he's always like, be careful, you know. Yeah, stuff like that.
Cool. So to introduce you guys a bit, right now you kind of have a small background about them. They are running an agency, a marketing agency that is closing probably this month at 100K. Most probably. And how these guys arrived at 100K before and went to zero first, and how they went back to 100 within a month and a half.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, with some spices and some insights, we're gonna go through 0.0 to 0.100 and then 0.0 and then 1.100 again. So, okay, I've understood that you met together through the mutual connection that you had.
Yeah.
How did you start to work together?
Basically, JD started as an employee for me,
He was
but
on the sales side or marketing side?
on the sales side. Yeah. But yeah, everything grew. All the other guys that I started with fell off. Everyone from the team fell off, and JD is the only one that always, kept pushing. And then there was a moment where JD kind of tried his own thing, and me too. But we were still very good connections. We just said like, yeah, let's try it, our own thing. And I think 2 months later, we just started working again together, but as partners this time.
You started a full agency while you started the sales agency, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Because right now, this kind of questions, again, this is not scripted. It's fully freestyle. I've asked some questions about them because, they're in Romania for almost a month. But I didn't ask all the small details, waiting for this special moment. So you started the sales agency, you started the full management agency, right?
Yeah.
What didn't went that good, or why you just started and stopped with it?
Well, to be honest, the results were not what we wanted, or our expectations were just too high. So we just kept on trying new things. Some of them were together, some of them were separate, and we finally found our thing a couple of months ago, and yeah, it worked pretty good so far.
Yeah, the thing is with like the moment we separated and started our own a little bit, it was more of like we needed to as well.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the full management agency, it wasn't even running good enough to be able to provide enough money for the both of us to live off of. So that's when I decided, okay, maybe it's just I have a lot of experience only in this field right now, so let me just start this up. And that's where, like, to be honest, that's where like I made the first bit of money in the space as well. But then from there on, the issue with the sales agency was it required too much time for me, and I just hated it, to be honest. I didn't like the day-to-day tasks. I didn't like what I needed to do in order to keep it running. It required too much time to keep it running, and then we just grouped back together and
Yeah.
said, let's just. I know because we've said it a lot. We always said, let's just try it one last time. That's what we said to each other.
Yeah, like I was always planning on, even if it fails,
Yeah.
I always told it to JD also. I said, bro, I don't care what happens, because yeah, I've been here 2 years now. If I stop right now, I didn't go to school, I didn't work, so I just wasted 2 years. So yeah, that's the reason we always kept trying new things, and yeah.
That's cool. So we're gonna come back to the moment where you start working again together. Can you give me a timeline for this when this happens?
Cool. But the thing is, when we separated, we were still cooperating with each other.
Yeah.
So we actually always worked with each other, but like
It's more like our sources of income were separated.
Yeah. You're probably providing sales services to his
Yeah,
agency,
yeah.
right? Something like this.
yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think this was in April last year that you did it.
I think we stopped working within the same agency, May, April, something like that. And then we got back together, I think it's like right after the summer, maybe like
Yeah,
September.
but even the whole summer we were already.
Yeah, we were
We're
good in
talking
contact.
about 2024, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a couple months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like we've always worked together, but to really give it like the name that we were in the same company as partners. I think it was at the end of the summer.
Got it. Okay, so tell me the story of how you got your first client together.
Our first client, I went to Rotterdam in Netherlands through Instagram DMs. I just liked
You
about
posted
everything, yeah. And yeah, I just said like, can we do it this weekend because I have to take my flight to Dubai next week and go do some business meetings.
So kind of fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
What
exactly.
amounts did you promise to the client?
I promised them 100K within 2 months.
Yeah, brave.
And we've never reached 100K, but they stay with us for a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yep.
That's cool. Okay, and then I know that you got another client that was not the quality of the product that client was the offering from through his business, her business was not right, and you just stopped working. And let's get back to the point where we had our first touch, right?
Yeah. We were doing a lot of testing at the time. So we were like in all the networking stuff looking for solutions. And I remember Jadi texted me. It was about some Instagram marketing strategies. And I said, yeah, I'll watch it. And I watched it, and you told us at the end about the coaching.
The challenge, the 0 to 50. So just to give you again a bit of a background, in October 2024, Instagram did a major update on the algorithm, and every time something major is happening into the platforms that we are working, let's say Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, or even YouTube, we're just making some calls with our community from Telegram. We have the link below, where we are kind of updating this completely for free. But at the end of each, let's say each call, we have something prepared. It's either launching a new product, either launching a challenge, something like interactive, where people can apply what they learned if they really want to do this. So back then in October, November, IG did a major update with non-duplicate content, some things like this, right? It was about that call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we joined the call, and afterwards, when you told about the challenge, that was the Road to 50K challenge.
0 to 50K
Yeah,
within 3 months, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we were instantly like, bro, we gotta do this. We knew we needed to do this. And I remember like one requirement was make a presentation about your agency and present it to me. And I know we put a lot of effort in the presentation.
Yeah.
Like we knew we had to take the shot, you know.
Also, back then, I remember there was like a little hype because we were always struggling a bit, and there was like a little hype between us too. Like we're gonna get some help finally, and we said like, bro, we need to be the best of the whole group.
There were like in the call, there were
80 people, I think.
80? Yeah, something like
it
that.
was a lot.
And from 80 people, 40 people applied. But we only selected 3 guys, 3 agencies. One of them was them. And also because I'm also very transparent, only they succeeded from that round. Having the 33% chance of win rate, I think is better than the roulette, right? So how did you... Okay, there was a challenge. Do you remember the requirements of the challenge?
The requirements,
It was a presentation.
yes.
And do you remember the other?
The payment?
Payment as well.
Yeah.
There were 8 requirements in there. 8 of 10.
Was it like, was one of them you need to be at 10K in revenue? Was there a revenue goal? No. I don't remember, to be honest.
Me neither.
Okay, so it was presentation, money, be ready to act right now.
Oh yeah.
Student mindset, 7 out of 7, 12 hours per day.
Yeah, that was
This
it.
was mandatory.
Yeah, 8. Was it 8 hours a day? Was it 12?
8 to 12, I think. Then it was something like, that I'm trying also to remember, not having other commitments and things like this. So in this challenge, what we did, we kind of tried to filter the best, the people with the best. Yeah. And their presentation, I have to admit, it was the best presentation because also you recorded it, right? Yeah, they were almost, it was either the guys who were just recording themselves speaking into the camera, but it means almost zero if you just send the video as a presentation. So they did also presentation. Also, they presented their setups, their working setups from home. They presented themselves, and they really liked that thing. And how, because also I need to put accent on some things, I'm also really transparent. How was the first feeling when you heard about the terms of playing? That if you're gonna reach, firstly, no matter what, you're gonna pay 5K up front, and after you're gonna reach 50K per month, you'll have to pay 20% of your profits to someone else. How did you relate it to this?
Basically, we didn't know it at first. From the payment, of course, it's logical, but the 20% we didn't know it, and we thought like, we're gonna have to think about it. I called some people who are a bit bigger in business than me, and also spoke about it together with you. And yeah, basically, if you think about it, once you reach the 50K profit, when you come out of a bit of a shitty situation.
So just to give them, again, some more background, you're doing kind of 100K in sales, but the real profit was
very low. Like just enough to live off for the both of us.
So you're just kind of paying a small salary to you, and that was the entire profit, right?
Yeah. And yeah, at the end of the day, if we reach the 50K, it's already good.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we give the 50 or the 20%?
We thought about it. We talked to each other about it, and for us it was like, okay, yeah, if this is gonna work, first of all we're working here with, if you reach the goal, and if you check at like what is the point where we reach that goal, how many revenue would we be doing, what would the profit be, and take minus 20% of that profit. Is it more than what we're doing right now? In our case, it was a lot more, so it was a no-brainer for us. If you really think about it, it was a no-brainer.
I even remembered you said when we said to you that we need to think about it, and you said just make a paper with the good things and the bad things of what you're gonna do. And we had like, bad thing, we give away 20%, and the good thing was completely full. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we made our first call. I presented to the terms. We got to know each other. I've understood their situation. It was my mistake that I've understood it a bit superficial, because when you see some people that earns and they're able to generate friction in order for, through their action, to generate 100K per month in sales, it doesn't matter the industry. It means that people have some skills. And it was my mistake, because it was the first challenge like this. It was my mistake that I didn't ask for a P&L straight away from the first single day. And for a month and a half, they were just putting a lot of time, a lot of effort, and their agency was going exactly the same, because they didn't have time to implement what we were speaking at the highest level. And I was like, what should I do with these guys? The other students from the challenge were not as prepared as them. They had less experience. We took someone from 0, we took someone from 5, and we took someone from your position. I cannot just name it in which position he was. And they were like the more skilled, the more experienced, but they were performing the lowest. And I couldn't understand until one single day when I asked for a P&L and the P&L was, if I remember correctly, I think it was 1 month with minus.
Yeah, we had the 2 previous months were minus.
Minus. And so I said, okay, how they are able to generate this amount of money and they are not able to keep them. And it was a big question mark for me. So in that moment, I've understood exactly what's happening with their business. Because when we started, we just tried to, I've seen the deal that they have with the clients, the retailers that they had from the clients, and the deals weren't great. But my agreement with you was, okay, let's optimize firstly the agency. Let's make it on autopilot. Let's optimize the cost. Let's raise a bit the profit. But I didn't realize how bad that situation was. And do you remember that call? It was a Thursday, if I remember right.
It was a dark day. Yeah, the call that you basically told us like you have to start all over again.
I remember I joined the call like hyped because I just found something.
And I
You
was
guys
already-
were like, maybe keep it on low. Yeah, it was a hard call, but we needed it. And at the end of the day, we really needed that call.
Yeah.
Like that was the changing point. They always say like you work hard for a long time for overnight success, and like I feel like that point for us was the complete turning point where we got to implement everything we learned from the past year and a half and start over again fresh, but start over good this time with like the best possible, like how do you say it, the best possible floor you can have, you know.
Foundation, right?
Yeah, the foundation.
What was the reason why you didn't start it from the first time like this?
Lack of experience.
Yeah.
Like
knowledge.
if there's one thing we didn't have, it was the understanding and the experience of leading and creating a good business. That was the issue. Probably
Yeah.
part of us being like young as well, inexperienced. We did know how to move around in the space, and we knew like for the marketing we knew what to do, where to look, but we weren't able to create a good business structure around it, and that was our biggest issue.
Okay. We're gonna go further with the details, but so you have another background. We ask from our clients in our business model for monthly retainers. So we're asking monthly fee for setting up, and then we're asking for a monthly retainer from the sales or the profit that is generated. And it was actually your first real business, and it's completely normal for you to fuck it up the first time.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm 23, you're 21, you're 20, so it's normal. But right now, let's go my impact over your work in that month, because it has been a month since I asked for the P&L, right?
Maybe a little longer right now, a month and a half.
Oh, you mean right now?
Yeah.
The P&L was in December.
In December.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've asked you some basic things regarding what's your deals with the clients, what's your costs, but I didn't ask for like a proper P&L. Like, and in the moment when I've seen their P&L, I've just noticed by myself that it's the first P&L that they ever made. So I said, okay, this is something wrong. I've seen in the business expense, personal insurance, health insurance, car payments, rent, and I said, this might be not right. So in that moment, it just triggered to me that your business was completely rotten. If when you're starting a business, you need to start it healthy from the beginning. Like, imagine the business exactly like raising a kid. You want to teach him the good principles from the beginning. Don't eat from the floor because it's shit. Because if he gonna eat from the floor, when he'll be 3 or 4, he'll think that that is good and he'll just continue to do this. But if you prevent these things, and also and what's happening nowadays with the internet money, you have the internet in front of you, but you know how it is on the internet, you cannot find all the time the right information. You can just find your industry, niche it down a bit, and then find who are the, I don't know, niche leaders or things like this. So going back to what happened in the first month to you as an effect of my influence over you?
Before the P&L or after the P&L?
Before the P&L first.
Well, yeah, to be honest, the first month and the second month for us were pretty dark because we finally found some help, but it was still, we were putting in a lot of time and it didn't look good.
Yeah, we were like in a negative spiral at that point, and even though we were putting in 12 hours a day easily, and like with two of us, our minds solely focused on the business, putting in all the work, all the effort, we were still like dying slowly and slowly even more. It was really dark for us, but at the end of the day, like it was because we hadn't found what actually the real problem was.
Yeah.
At that point, we were like testing a lot of stuff as well, and I think if we think about the position we're in right now and where the stuff we were testing back then, I think that was also really important testing for us, because that gave like the backbone for what we're eventually doing right now as well. But in terms of the results for the agency, that was just it. The thing is, it was unfixable, and we hadn't seen, we hadn't realized it yet that it wasn't fixable. So yeah.
Even when I think about it, back at it right now, I just see gray stuff. It's crazy.
I remember we're just setting up, again, they're really smart guys, like really smart guys and really hardworking. And I remember I was checking their work. You started with outreaching to new clients. And I just gave them proper guidelines in order how to identify if a client is managed or not. And it was like the first thing written in there, it was also really obvious. And then they're just complaining, hey, things are not working really good. And I said, okay, this is the recipe that is going to take you to 50K per month. Yeah, you're going to need a bit of luck, because you cannot be like, you need a bit of luck to speed up the things. But if you put in every single day the work that you need, you're going to get at that point at a certain amount of time. But they were like kind of, instead of being like a magnet and attract everything, they're just, I don't know how it's called this.
Pushing away.
Pushing away. Everything, like you couldn't reach anything. It was something like, for me, it sounded like probably an execution issues in terms of the quality of it. But it was the fact that they were working 10 hours per day and they were stressed about the situation that they couldn't control.
It was bad energy, and like, yeah, the frustrations from us, and it shines through in your environment, you know. So
just completely exhausted.
Yeah,
back then. Because also before we joined you, the agency started to slowly die, basically. So we were already like putting in all the effort before, and then we thought we had the solution. Oh, next month is gonna be, we're not gonna be in negative anymore, and you keep pushing, and as I said, were dark days.
Yeah, but to be honest, like, we always kept working very hard, and at the end of the day, you see where it brought us. So
good. So we had a month and a half where the things were not as great, also for me and also for them. We were trying to make the things work, because when you're starting to work with a student from zero, it's easy for him to create the things in the right way, but they had something. They had something that back then it was, you cannot say that it was not working. It was not working into the right direction, but it was something that is working, and I couldn't just take away their money, their business, that was their little child. They were kind of attached to this, and I couldn't just take it away and say, if you want to work with me, do whatever I want right now. I try to provide the extra understanding to their situation and try to just work especially on their situation. And again, I just proved my concept that it doesn't matter what your situation, you're gonna do like me if you want to work with me. Good. Okay, so you stopped the agency. We had a call in that day. I told you guys, I've kind of not framed it, but I just told you more or less that if you want to still work together, you need to do this. Because I've seen that you are attached to the business more than you should be.
Yeah, I remember when you said it. You said like, you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say right now. And I was you said the whole explanation of what we were gonna do. Then you said, I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And you said, just take a day off tomorrow and just go for a walk and think a bit. And at that moment, it was like I got sucked out of a tunnel basically, and I just had the first time in months that I could think clearly. And we started again on the next day, and it was like a fresh beginning then.
Okay, and you started again from zero. No team, no employees. I think you also sold part of the team to another agency, something like that, right?
Yep.
So you started it from scratch, all by yourself. After again 2 years and a bit of working every single day, they came back to the employee point, which I'm gonna tell you from my experience is not the best point where you can be. Yeah, if it's necessary, you have to do it, but it's not the nicest point. And what gave you the fire in you to just go on and keep going in that point, in that certain point?
It's the fact that there's no other option at this point. At that point, we know, like, okay, we don't have a degree. We had a business that was somewhat trying to keep itself up a little bit, but wasn't working out. And at one moment, you have nothing anymore. Your head is completely clear. There's no issues coming in every single day. So you have basically a clean sheet where you can work on. And you also know, like, now we need to do this because we have to prove it to ourselves, and because there basically is no other option. Then am I gonna be happy to go and work a normal job for the rest of my life, or is this gonna just eat me? Is this just gonna feel bad every single day of my life? And we basically decided for ourselves, like, we can't, because we would just never be happy in our lives. And that's,
For me personally, it was the shame of failing. I couldn't handle the shame of being the guy who failed.
In front of who?
In front of my parents and all the people, who knew I was running a business. Because I had a running business, so a lot of people thought, like, oh, this guy he is making money, blah 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 blah, and to then fail, and to the whole family fail, it's just a big shame. Like, it was all a lie or something. I didn't want people to think that everything was one big lie.
Okay, so right now you got your motivation, let's say, to start over. But what was the first steps that you did in order to start over?
The first steps was just closing the things that we had previously. So stopping all the operations and selling a little part of it, and then just recruiting new clients.
Okay. And you do this through what methods?
Through Instagram, most of the parts, also some other side pieces, but Instagram was the biggest part.
Okay. And how did you felt that in this point you started over? You don't have something that is keeping you back. How did you felt the intake of information that you're getting comparing to the first part of our collab?
Much better, because at this point we were only focused on one task at once, which was at this point client acquisition. And before we were also doing the client acquisition, but we also had to manage the previous business and do stuff for that. At this point, it was completely clean sheet. Start with the first thing, client acquisition. Start over, do it the good way right now, and yeah, it went so much better. So
How long did it took until you got your first client of doing everything that, let's say, for the first time I've asked, and it happened?
2 weeks.
2 weeks for the first client, and for the second?
3 days after the first one.
Okay, it was very fair, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And what made the second client just go for you with you also?
Also because I still had the results of the previous clients, so this client was doing very bad experience with previous agencies. I talked to the previous manager of her. I realized he was lacking on some points that we were better in. So yeah, we pitched her at a very high or a really decent percentage for us. And yeah, just the pitch and showing the numbers, and she was hooked, and she immediately brought in a second client for us.
Good. So they started from zero. They got their first 2 clients, and then what happened? How much did our kind of systems and our workflows, because I have a rule with our students, we never gave them things just to implement it and to work. We ask them, we kind of give 80 to 90% of what we have, and we ask them to replicate it take all that information and to go through their mind filters and just apply it with their own ideas, because I'm just trying to create people who are able to think for themselves, take decision for themselves, and to be autonomous at the end of the day. Yeah.
Basically, the first thing that we did was step out of the tunnel vision, because we were not looking big about the different opportunities that we had. We were just focusing in a focus vision, basically. And that's when we said, we have the 2 clients right now. I'm gonna do everything about the managing and the searching for new clients, and yeah, you're gonna focus on
The marketing.
the marketing. Yeah.
And that's where like things started to take off as well. So for the marketing, as I remember, you guys basically set us up with this new platform. Start over, you gave us the information, we implemented it. We had a small amount of success with it, was pretty decent. And then one day I came across something and I was looking it out, like I was checking it out, like this might be something. And I remember, like when I told it to you, you said, "Bro, this is never gonna work." But I was like so focused on this. I knew this was gonna work somehow, and pushed through on it. And that was like the major breakthrough for us. Was the information you guys provided us mixed with this one thing we saw in the platform. We put both things together, and at that point, yeah, everything skyrocketed.
Yeah, this is the only way of things going well, is like some foundations and some input, personal input, because what they found out could never work without the right foundation, or only the foundation will never work with any personal input. So this is our way of collaborating with our students, are something more personal. And when I promise someone that I'm gonna take care of you, be sure that this will happen. And this is what happened to you.
Yep.
Okay, you discovered that little thing that completely switch up the trajectory to that you're having. And what happened next?
At this point, you were focusing a lot on the back end.
We finally had something that was working a bit. I know Chadi has strength in this, so I just said, bro, just do this, focus on this. I'm gonna take care of whatever happens. Just full focus on this. It's finally some light at the end of the tunnel. And also we just started setting everything up again with better profit margins for us. So with the new employees that we had back then, and
this first month after the discovery was a lot of work for us personally, because we this was January. We didn't delegate anything, so that was our issue then. I remember very well. This was our issue at this point. We had this, but we were doing all the work ourselves, delegating nothing. And then I remember that you told us on a call as well, like, okay, next step, delegation, because you don't want to keep doing this yourself. And it's something in your mind that it just gets there when you have success with something. It's hard to give it away, like
let it go on.
To have less control over it. And that was like a hardship for me as well, like letting the control go a bit, but in order to gain back our time to focus on new stuff. And I think that's where moving to Bucharest really came into the picture. Like in here, we've been working all month on building the systems, delegating everything, and we can confidently say it worked very, very nicely, because at this point we have delegated everything we wanted to delegate within this month, which is basically like everything in terms of the manual labor. We've delegated everything, and only the management side of things isn't delegated yet, but manual labor, everything is delegated, and our numbers we didn't see any drop in numbers whatsoever from it. So
while they were building systems that will normally probably take for an agency 3 to 6 months, they just built them within 2 weeks and a half.
Yeah.
And their numbers didn't went up too much, but it went down too much.
It didn't really went up.
A little bit, it was also because same rule applies here. We were in a positive spiral. We were going upwards already, and that then when we started delegating, we were still going up a little bit. The only thing, like in terms of the revenue, we started raising, but the only thing is the costs were a little bit higher, but it's only like it's a fraction of what we're making right now. So we're at a very good place right now, and really happy about the results.
That's good. So in business, your business should be always like this, fluctuating, because when you have some systems, the systems will probably reach a cap, like a plateau. And from that moment, you need to create better systems. And in that moment, when your focus is moving to creating systems, is normally for the revenue, for the profits, for everything to go a bit down, because you're building. Just consider the fact that there are agencies who are stopping their operations for months in order for them to rebuild the entire systems. So what they did in this short time, because they came in Bucharest not even a month ago, I'm gonna be really honest with you, I've never seen anyone work as much as them. I'm not working as much as them, from the office at least. They're in the office from 8 a.m. in the morning until 2 to 3. They're just robots, and you can see they're as much alive, they're healthy, they're eating good, they're going to the gym. So if you really want to do positive things in your life, you can do them. Yeah, they can't go right now in a club. They cannot just hang out and lose time. They cannot smoke some weed with their friends. They choose this path and they're 100% dedicated. And I can say that I'm really proud of them because each single day they're putting in the work. Yeah, they have a lot of things to learn on the business side, but this is where I come. And this is why, as I heard this word, I'm just helping people, taking their hand and moving it further. This is my purpose in all this collaboration that I have together with them. But I have a feeling that at the next video with them, they'll be probably at 400K per month. I just feel it. And I'm not going to give it more than 6 months for this to happen because they just work. They have zero execution issues. For them is no motivation. I was crossing, they have their office right now on top of our office, or just crossing up with Leon. Oh my God, I just stayed until 4 a.m. in the morning, but I have things to do. So this is their perspective of the business. They are just putting in the work. But again, a lot of work with no guidance will lead you in a point where might not be the best point.
That's the point where we were in before.
Yep.
That's also because you said we grew the business, but personally, this month we've grown as much as the business did.
100%.
Like before, it was just put in as much as you can and see what comes out of it. Right now, we have a structure for ourselves to work. We saw how your team works. We implemented the things that we saw from them. It's much more productive. The things that we do right now, they matter more than some of the things that we put our time to before.
Mm-hmm.
So not only in the business thing, but I feel, for me, I think for you also personally, this month we've grown incredibly, a lot.
Yeah, I'm always gonna remember it, and it's the one thing you put on a piece of paper for me, and it's hanging in the office right now, and that is when there is a problem, don't immediately go into action and try to solve it, but take a step back and think
Create
first.
a system that will fix that issue.
Exactly, and that's like one thing I've learned to do so much the last month is instead of being so small-minded and looking only at the problem, try to look at the bigger picture first. Think before you take action, because if you don't think before you take action, you might just be doing the wrong things and ending up wasting your time. And that's helped a lot for us.
The best example is the second day we were here. We did a meeting with the team and you, and we were just saying, okay, we have this and this and this, and how are we gonna do things this month? We never did this before. Like just sitting down and not working and just talking about what we're gonna do, what are the possibilities, and just going over everything.
Yeah.
Like brainstorming a bit.
This was the pure definition of brainstorming, what
Yeah.
we did in there.
We'd never done that before. And I remember I came out of the office and was like, holy
Yeah.
shit, what?
It's like you're clearing up your mind so much by doing this.
Yeah, we're doing this at our agency. We have a rule. Sunday, we analyze everything that happened and we are kind of planning what we're going to do in the next week. This is why Monday we have daily summaries. We are setting the goal for the next week. But regarding what they said, I have something to add on here. Your business is 100% limited to you. So if you are a good worker, you'll not be a good businessman.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a good businessman, you can be a good worker. And there is another thing. If you are growing as an individual, your business will grow with you. If you are just putting in the work and focusing only just do the work, your business will not be able to be exponential better because you haven't learned anything new. You didn't develop a mindset. You didn't develop. You just become a better worker, and that's all. When you're gonna start growing as a person, you're gonna see that your business is growing more and more and more and more. And what I can just add on you, you probably seen that I have over 40, 50 books in the office. I never asked for one single of them. And from the next time when you'll be in Bucharest, I'd recommend to get one. 5 pages a day. It takes 10 minutes. I'm not gonna ask for more than 10 minutes because this is also what I'm putting in, 10 to 20 minutes, but make it as with the to-do list. Make it like something mandatory for you to do it every single day and for you to be self-accountable for your actions. Because if you'll not be the one who is just taking accountability for the actions, who will be that person who will come in life and say, hey Leon, go to work, you're not anymore a kid. So this kind of things for you is not the case because their work ethic is even better than ours, and I respect that a lot. But there are some things that they need to focus on developing themselves more. And what's in order to sum up this small, medium, big interview, maybe, what are your plans for the next 6 months?
Yeah, we basically had a brainstorm session this afternoon with each other, and yeah, right now we have delegated all the work or most of the work, and we said, okay, what's the next step? Okay, we need to scale. How are we going to scale? We need this and this and this. How are we going to do it this way? And the plan for next month is just scaling as much as possible.
Yeah.
Horizontally or vertically?
Both.
Yeah.
But we haven't, I feel like we haven't hit our plateau vertically yet, but I think we're pretty close.
Yeah.
And as soon as we're gonna hit it, we're gonna start scaling horizontally like crazy. So yeah, that's on the planning for this month. Also, like a lot of development stuff for other new strategies, new platforms maybe, and yeah, just start expanding like crazy.
That's good, guys. So in order to sum up with a conclusion that also reflects me, I'm not going to take any conclusion now. How did your life change since you met me?
Actually, a lot. So at first it was like realizing how bad things were.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, I think like my personal life, it was probably one of the worst periods of my life, those few months. But you basically, you changed us from like trying to run a business as kids.
Yeah.
Kids, and becoming real entrepreneurs, basically.
Yeah. That's exactly what I would say as well. Like everything just got 10 times more serious for us. It's amazing to see, of course, the money coming in as well. But at the end of the day, like for me personally, okay, the money is always the goal and what you work for at the end of the day. But it's also about the accomplishment and the feeling you create in within yourself of like, I am the guy running this successful business, and that's such a good feeling, and it just makes you go even harder. So I think that sums it up pretty well. Like it's changed our lives significantly, 100%.
I'm happy to. You can see that I'm really happy to hear this, and I'm happy that this is happening, and I'm happy that this will happen also in the next months, years. Who knows? As a hint, they'll move to Romania really soon. We'll cut this if you don't want. They'll move to Romania very soon to create make some business in here together. Maybe who knows? Maybe in Dubai, our life will go. And guys, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. It's me, Nag, JD, and Leon, and this is our story of 3 to 4 months compressed in an hour of their achievement, because this interview was more about them and more about how they changed their lives significantly from a point to another within 4 months. So it's just a matter of time when you're going to succeed it if you take the right decision and you are able to put in the work. This was the first episode. Thank you very much for watching, and let's catch up next time. See ya. It's a